So I'm going to give you a short introduction to the 3 type 8 subtypes. So the self-preservation 8 is an 8 that focuses much more on security, on material security, on getting what they need in a very direct way. There's an intolerance of frustration or that kind of impatience around getting what they need, just without having to talk about it too much with other people or explain themselves. Another thing about the self-preservation 8 is that it's an 8 that is a little bit more on the down low. Their energy tends to be a little more contained. They tend to be quieter, a little bit more to themselves. So it's not an 8 that needs to have power over a big group of people, although certainly they can be very powerful, like all 8s can. But it's an 8 that doesn't share as much of themselves, that's a little more armed or defended, and has a harder time being vulnerable with others. Someone who doesn't communicate or share a lot with people they don't know. They can be open and very present and alive in the relationship with those that they feel very close to. The social 8 is the countertype of the 3 type 8 subtypes. And the social 8 is an 8 that focuses more on protection than material security. The social 8 is an 8 that almost looks like a 2. The self-preservation 8 can look a little bit like a 5. Definitely a bigger energy than 5, but they tend to be, again, more pulled in, more self-contained, more reserved. The social 8, on the other hand, is a 2 that looks like The social 8, on the other hand, is an 8 that looks a little more like a 2 or maybe a 9. It's someone who is very focused on taking care of other people, on protecting others, on mentoring others, empowering others. The social 8 is an 8 that, in a way, unconsciously projects their vulnerability out onto others and then wants to take care of those that seem weak or vulnerable, that are part of the sphere of people in their life that they view themselves as being responsible for. But they can also intervene if they see someone out in the world being taken advantage of, or someone with less power being exploited or mistreated by someone with more power. It's like they use their strength for people who don't have enough strength or are too weak to protect themselves. And because they have this orientation, they're the countertype, because it's like if the 8 is a little bit anti-conventional or antisocial in that they have an easier time rebelling or going against authority, this is an 8 that is not so out there in an obviously angry, rebellious way, partly because they're really focusing on wanting to be there for other people, expressing their protection, their generosity, their care through the things they do. You very often find social 8s having occupations or careers that are focused on supporting others or helping people defend themselves, or like victims' rights advocates. They often get involved in social justice causes in order to empower or support those who need support in society. Sometimes you see social 8s like being involved in animal rescue or children's protective services, or in causes that help women, or things like that. Now, the sexual 8 is an 8 that focuses more on power and being the center of things. So it's a more energetic, passionate, magnetic 8, an 8 that really wants to make their presence felt by the people around them. Sometimes we say they want to be more in control, but it's certainly around certain people and expressing their power in specific ways so that they can have a big impact. The name is possession, and it's a little bit like possessing the energy. It's a little bit like possessing the energy and attention of the people around them. And the sexual 8 is a more emotional 8. There's more action and passion and emotion and less thinking. although certainly they can be very, very intelligent and intellectual, but it's like a going into action. It's a going against, and they tend to be the biggest rebels. They're an 8 that doesn't mind being out there saying, you know, they're doing something others might see as bad, but they don't see it that way. And they really can go against the powers that be in a big way, but have a lot of energy and a lot of desire to be the center, show more colors in their feathers, to really be the person who fills up the stage and takes the power of the moment in their own hands.